Now there's a pretty sight. Welcome back to GP Outdoors. It's a beautiful fall day today, and I've got a lot of chores to get done before the snow starts to fly. We've been pretty lucky because we're benefiting from a big warm front that's coming across from the west, so that's kind of extended the warm weather for us right now, so I got to take advantage of it. Today's going to be a really busy day. Hope you can keep up. They finally lifted the burn ban, so I need to get some of that debris and some of that driftwood burned off while I can. And then we've just got a bunch of different chores I've got to get done today. Nothing specific, just everything I can get done while the weather's beautiful. I thought it'd take you along because I thought you might enjoy the colors and the clear blue skies. This first task you see is a bit of a disappointment for me and an unfortunate event. As I've told you in the past, and you've seen in previous videos, we have a lot of snowmobile traffic that comes down the driveway and across a neighboring property. And it's a shortcut, it's not part of the official trail system, but over decades and word of mouth, I've counted more than 150 sleds going up and down that driveway just on any given weekend in the winter. Recently, the neighbor on the other side decided to block that little shortcut that everybody's been using. And well, unfortunately, despite all the signs I've put up, everybody gets to the top of the lake, realizes that little shortcut trail is blocked, and start cutting across my front lawn in front of my living room. 80% of sledders or snowmobilers are very respectful of private property, but you're always going to get that complement of people. They'll find a way to cut through the property. The signs didn't do much last year, so unfortunately I'm going to be stuck looking at a big ugly orange snow fence across the lake for the winter time, and we'll see if that helps to stop people from cutting through and trespassing on the property. I also had some good cooperation from the Federation of Snowmobiles, which is the main organization that manages the 33,000 kilometers of trails we have up here. And they've given me some official signs at my cost to put up. And here's another interesting one. You've seen this many times in the past, primarily when we've been clearing the meadow or working in different parts of the forest, but for some reason up here, and I assume there's a nature's reason for it, basswood trees tend to surround and encompass some of our maples, just as you see here. They grow up in large numbers of saplings right around the base, and at some point, as I'm doing today, is I need to take them down because I'm not sure if at some point they're going to start starving the maple itself, and I'd like to keep the maple. And the basswood trees are not a big deal or of any importance to us. So we'll grapple them out of here, and then we'll put them aside for now, and we'll come back to them later in the video. As I go through the video today, you'll see that I'm jumping around doing different things and coming back to things, and that's because as I go through the day, I try to do it as efficiently as possible, so that, for example, I don't have to keep taking the grapple on and off the tractor. I try to get all the grapple work done at the same time, then move to another implement and get all that type of work done thereafter. I gotta head back into the forest to grab a couple of logs. The guy asked me to drag the log trailer out there and leave it out in the clearing so that when he gets out there later this week, it's already there for him. You may recall this is the tree I felled a couple of weeks ago. It's about the right diameter for what I need it for, so we're going to grab it, haul it out, buck it up into 8-foot lengths, and then I'm going to take it back out by the woodshed. Although these logs are pretty small, and I could certainly carry much longer lengths if I wanted to with the tractor, I've become cognizant over the years, and as I've gained more experience, that you don't want too much wood hanging too far out the sides of the tractor, because you're going to cause kind of a lateral energy or pressure on your loader arms, as well as trying to get through the forest trail with something longer than 8 feet can be a bit difficult at times because the trail's not that wide. 8 feet tends to work just fine for me. That grapple definitely needs some dental work, as many of you have mentioned. And Guy said that perhaps maybe this winter we'll take it into the shop and he'll help me straighten those teeth out. This part of the video will probably look familiar if you've seen the last video. This is where I was trying to grab those 4 roughly same size logs to do that firewood marker comparison. Stole the runners out of the forest, as you can see, but I wanted to grab a couple of the logs off of Guy's log pile. We're piling up logs again as we've done the last couple of winters, because they just prove to be very handy if either Guy starts to run out of wood because it's an extra cold winter, or what's more likely to happen, and tends to happen almost every winter, is somebody down the concession road starts to run short of firewood. So it's very easy to get out to this pile, buck up and split some firewood and help them out. We just need to strap these runners together so I have somewhere to buck those logs on without hitting the ground. Many of you have asked me in the past how I keep the tractor full of diesel. There you go. There's some logs that my neighbor bucked up. This is actually my neighbor's property that the driveway is passing through at this point. He doesn't have a tractor, but he had to buck up a few beech trees. As you folks know, we have very little oak up here in this area. We're primarily elm, ash, and maple. However, on his whole property, he only had 3 beech trees, and unfortunately had to take them down. I'll tell you why shortly. Now I'm back in the forest on one of the trails I made this summer. There was a few trouble spots. Well, there's several trouble spots that need some attention, but I wanted to at least get a few things done before the winter, so that if the girls are out walking or ATVing, or I'm down here on the tractor, I'm not going to be sorry I was. You'll find when you're building the trails, you'll often come across some small sapling stumps, such as this one. And they can be very sharp sometimes. Probably not very good for the ATV tires or for the tractor. So I had to mark this one with a rock, as you saw, so that I could get back to it before winter, because I didn't want to find it the hard way. Also, you'll often encounter roots such as this one that goes across whatever path you're building. So I just wanted to get in and clean up a few of these things, widen out on the corner, as you can probably see, and just get these things done before the snow flies. There's also one other thing I've got to do in this trail as well, which you'll see later in the video. I'm really impressed with this Oregon CS300 limbing saw. It's an electric saw, as you folks know, but it's so lightweight, really handy, and I love that it has a built-in sharpener. It's great for limbing or doing small work, especially things such as trimming the sides of the trails as I'm doing today. quick and efficient, push the button, make your cut, throw it in the back of the big tool rack. So you'll remember I just mentioned there was one other thing I had to get done before the snow flies. There's a few spots on the trail where I removed rocks where I probably shouldn't have, creating big holes. Watch the tractor. There we go. Now it didn't look that severe in the camera, but I can assure you every time I pass over that hole, I feel like the tractor's going to flip over sideways. I gotta get that hole filled, at least temporarily, because it's the worst one on the trail. But in the meantime, let's head back up the driveway and grab a few more of those beech logs. Quick stop along the way. Since I'm moving those logs down to my neighbor's cabin, I want to make sure that I don't leave them on the ground over the winter, because he won't be bucking them up until the spring. So I just want to grab a couple of small pieces of wood so I can put some runners down on the ground for him. When you're working out in the property, or if you do a lot of property maintenance or work in your forest, I'd highly recommend that you look at something like a big tool rack, or you build your own carryall, some type of a carryall or an attachment for the tractor that allows you to bring all your tools and your equipment, to load things and to carry them with you. As I've said before, tractors don't have a trunk space. And when you're doing a chores day, such as I'm doing today, having the ability to carry whatever I need with me all the time and not have to go back and forth to the cabin to get other equipment just saves a ton of time, and is so convenient and handy. Now here's the challenge we have with Beech. If you see the white dots on the trunks, and some of them are turning reddish on the outsides, that's what they call beech bark disease. As you know, up in this area, and I've talked about before, over the last couple of decades, most of our elm tree population is being decimated by the Dutch elm disease, followed by the emerald ash borer, which has been killing off now our ash tree population. What I've just learned recently as a result of this exercise is that the beech trees are also being killed off by what they call the beech bark disease. And that's those little white circles you're seeing all over them. Just a very unfortunate situation. Not sure why. Perhaps it's just nature's way. Little fun fact for you. As I mentioned previously, we have very little oak up in this area, and we have even less beech. However, even though we heat primarily with elm, ash, and maple, which is our primary sources up here in the forest, I found out recently beech trees are in fact much heavier than the other three, and it has a much higher BTU energy rating than the other three. Now back to those bass saplings. This little 4-inch chipper I picked up a few summers ago has been a real help around the property. At the time, there was a big price difference between this chipper and some of the hydraulic models available on the market. I've only had to sharpen the blades once now in 3 summers, and as you can see, it's making some great chips out of this basswood. I have noticed though that as you get towards the thinnest part of the top of the tree and you get more into the branches or the thinner branches, it's coming out a little stringy. But the base trunk of those saplings is coming out in really nice, beautiful chunks. I know I was taking a bit of a chance with these last couple of saplings because the base of those trunks were in excess of 4 inches, but it's a soft wood. And hey, I had a lot to do that day, so I figured I'd give it a shot, and sure enough, the chipper ate everything. You'll see what I mean about the stringiness from the top, and there's the chips out of the main trunk. You remember where that tractor felt like it wanted to tip over? It's not a permanent solution, but hopefully it'll be just fine for now and at least over the winter and into the spring. I have a feeling that over time wood chips is not the right way to fill a hole, because eventually they'll break down and most likely it'll just become mud. But at least for now I've got a use for it. I'll fill up that hole so I can smooth out or level out this part of the trail. Make it a little easier for when we're taking the ATV and especially the tractor through the forest. Well, that's a wrap for today. I'd really appreciate it if you stuck around with me. I hope you enjoyed the views and the shots of the forest. It's getting pretty late in the afternoon, and I wouldn't mind spending a little bit of time on the dock, because days like this are numbered now. If you like the channel, please click subscribe, hit the like button, and if you want to know when I'm posting videos, just click that little bell. Have a wonderful week with your families. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you again right here on GP Outdoors.